Okay, so you're Erik Winkowski. Hello. Thank you for
Hi.
joining me today. Um,
Yeah.
and you are a video artist,
hmm
or specifically a video collage artist, which is super
hmm
cool. And you've been doing a lot of really cool projects for a good while now, including your video sketchbook that you did for like every day for a long time, which was
Yeah.
really exciting and made everybody
Yeah.
really happy. Or at least some people like that made me really happy, which is really cool to watch. Um, and you have always kind of like really infused AR in general, I've noticed. Like it
hmm
seems like it's something that's super exciting to you. You had your
Yeah.
CADAF uh, art fair, you participated in the Miami iteration, I believe.
hmm
And you had
hmm
really cool prints there.
Yeah. Yeah. I did a collection of AR prints with Collide Studio. So they're, still, like printed pieces that when you held up an app came to life. And it was cool. We showed them in New York at a smaller show, and it was great to see people's reaction because people like kind of appreciated the prints as prints, and then kind of it dawned on them, or like as they were shown, they came to life. And yeah, it was a really kind of exciting to see that bridge between like a more traditional medium and the digital medium. So
Yeah, it's
yeah.
awesome because it is a challenge to showcase video art as it was intended to be shown, like as art pieces,
Yes.
and have people
Yes.
at home with that art. So it's
hmm
when you can use technology like AR to bring it to life, like you said. So it's
Definitely.
not just like a little Instagram situation. It becomes
Right.
this interactive moment that's really exciting. So
Yeah.
it's super
And I
cool.
mean, I even love Instagram. I love people being able to like experience the work on their phone, and there's kind of like an intimacy to that, I think, or even just like a way of like getting art into people's lives, not necessarily in a really like you know, uh, kind of esteemed way, or it's not like a museum or a gallery, but it's like in a much more kind of daily or casual way. And I think there's actually something nice about that, about having work on a phone. But you're right, that like after a certain point of doing like 2 years of videos on a phone, I'm like, I would love to see the work elsewhere, like larger or, just in different ways. And most recently, like AR has been that way that I've been just like even within the last couple of weeks kind of experimenting with. That's just another way, although technically it is still on a phone screen. It's like seeing that work in a larger way in the world, which has been
Totally.
cool.
I think that's cool. I like your point about having that more casual intimacy on Instagram because
Mhm.
art really is for everyone. So it maybe makes it
Yeah,
less intimidating and
I think so. Yeah.
it invites people in and they're like, okay, this isn't just this pedestal that I don't know about, that I can't exist.
Right.
So that's a really good point. Um, so you recently made two AR filters. Uh,
Yes. Yes.
one in which you put out the other day called Runner,
Yeah.
and it runs in a room. Which is, are you?
I am. Yeah, and I actually, so like I've been a runner for a long time. But I kind of stopped running for several years, and just during the quarantine kind of picked it back up again, and it has saved my sanity probably in a lot of ways. And just so I live in New Orleans with my wife and baby son, and we live just a block away from the Mississippi River, and there's a levee there. And so I've been running just about every day and running a loop, and sometimes 3 to 5 miles. In the summer heat, it's getting hard to run more than 5 miles, but yeah, no, so it's in a way that piece was a bit of a self-portrait, and that it's a thing I do every single day. And yeah, so it was interesting. It's been amazing to see people using it and to see it kind of getting shared and like being used elsewhere. But yeah, it was my very first kind of experience with AR. And one of my first impressions was that, I was going to kind of put the runner in a more of an environment with like trees and high wires and maybe like birds flying around, and like, but by leaving it open, it just allowed people to be kind of more creative too with how they were seeing it, and like place it in their own environments, like scale size down and have it run around a coffee cup or on top of their cat, or like get big and like run outside the window. And so for me, that's been really exciting. Like I love, I've kind of been thinking about this for a while, like how can I make work that will actually allow the viewers to be creative and like be able to interact with it in their own and like take it somewhere else. And I feel like with this AR work, like that's exactly what's happening. People are being so creative with it. I love seeing what people are coming up with and how they're kind of using this kind of simple device, but like taking it somewhere else. So it felt like a kind of a big collaboration in a way.
Totally. I think
Yeah,
that's super fun. And I think everybody kind of needs that right now. And just like
yeah,
you on my end, just like looking at their stories, it's really exciting to see how other people are using it. And again, it like allows, like you said, people to get out there and find their own way to be creative, even if
yeah,
they can't like make their own art because they
yeah.
don't illustrators or computer artists or whatever it may be.
Right.
um, and then you also put out your natural philosophy filter,
Yeah,
just like a
yeah.
drama like looking situation.
Yeah, kind of inspired by like early naturalist art on like optics and like yeah, just kind of botanical illustration and things like that. And there's like the Maybridge horse running animation is like the first kind of tests in kind of filmmaking. So just bringing all those things together in an animation and trying to think of like masks and face filters in slightly different ways. And it is a bit of a mashup. In a way, that piece could have been a flat video that I would have posted like a year ago, but now it's more of like a mask and something that can be worn. And so I feel like I'm just kind of scratching the surface with face filters and masks, and um, how art can be worn, but also like one thing I'm really interested in trying is just how kind of our face can be like a remote control to make things happen in a piece. And like it just makes me think of like David Byrne's Playing the Building. I don't know if you ever saw that installation. There's like a piano connected to a building, or like keys are played, and this kind of strange experience of like hitting a C note and like a window open somewhere else kind of
Yeah,
thing. But it's like that kind of idea where like an eyebrow may trigger a deer to hop out of a bush or something, like just like I don't know exactly what it is, but there's almost like kind of a cool, interesting, slightly kind of like surreal experience of like controlling something um that is not your face or your body, but like controlling it with your body. So
right.
just yeah, just still getting into all of that. And it's been like a little bit of like a technical hurdle just learning this new technology and learning the new language. But I have so many ideas that I'm just like dying to get out there, that it's been that has kind of pushed me along and like to learn this technology.
So basically, we can expect many more face filters from you.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. And all sorts of filters. Like I'm really interested in creating work that's like more kind of sculptural and possibly even like architectural. And so that's one thing that I'm really excited about with AR, is that it allows you to just kind of create work that can be explored and that can be walked around, and that can even like be entered and like have a whole different experience with the piece. And so, the work that I was doing in the video sketchbook was very much like treating video like collage and mixed media, and like cutting it up, almost like treating video like a piece of paper, and like how can you collage it and how can you layer it. But now I feel like it's taking those pieces of paper and like turning it into structures, and like using video to create something that is more three-dimensional. So yeah, I'm really, really excited about that.
Yeah, it's super fun. I loved your house that you created too.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah, thank you.
it's really awesome. Um,
Yeah.
that's super cool. So you mentioned like there was like some technical hurdles. Like, are there any tips that you would offer up to like digital artists who want to explore making AR filters but don't know where to start necessarily?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm using Spark AR, and they have pretty good documentation on their website and good tutorials. And something that I've found that's maybe just helpful for me is to um, not even get too deep in a new piece of technology, which is to just like learn one thing and then try to like take that simple technique and apply it in new projects and like try and figure out how to use it. So that's one thing that I'm trying. It's just like, as soon as I learned how to like place an image in a scene using just like a 3D plane and putting a PNG in there, and like that, honestly, in a way that's like I could spend my life probably just using that one simple technique, but there's like so much more. But I am kind of like guilty of getting down like rabbit holes and like spending like almost getting obsessed with tutorials and watching so many of them that after a certain point it can like, first off, like kind of take you in a different direction, which can be good, but like kind of distract you from what you're doing. And also, you know, you watch 8 hours of solid tutorials, you'll remember like 15 minutes worth of that stuff. So it's better to just like watch in sections and then go along. But there there are good tutorials out there, and I've been taking one right now on Udemy. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. There's like an online learning course that's been pretty good. But really, I mean, YouTube has been excellent. I mean, the tutorials are a little bit scattered, but as I said, I think if you just watch one and then figure out how you can apply it to your own work, that's the best way to learn. But I'm like, I've spent so much of my creative life in After Effects, and that's what I like know, and I almost like think in After Effects. And so this is a different way. It's like node-based animation, if that means anything to you. And like it's cool, it's great, but it's like having to think in a completely different way, on top of the fact of like having to think three-dimensionally, which is something I've never really done. So it's been exciting though. So it's definitely a learning experience, which I appreciate. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I think I read somewhere that you've been a serious artist since you were 3 years old. So I take your word for it.
Yeah.
Like hardcore dedication right there. I love
yes.
it. Okay, and then I guess what's next? Like, are you working on anything new? I think, oh, actually, before I get you to answer that, I did read somewhere that you were talking about like the future of art and wanting to do these like site-specific AR sculpture gardens or like exhibit and things like that. And I kind of wanted to bring that up since it's super relevant to this conversation in a way.
So yeah, I mean, one thing that I'm really excited about is I feel like the kind of very early, or the couple of years ago when I was doing the video sketchbooks, it was like very much I was walking outside every day and finding things in my environment and like reacting to them, and I felt that that experience was really incredible, just to like get outside of your house and recognize the things that you pass by like day after day without seeing. And like it's incredible. I'd like walk the same block and I would notice the birds one day, which I had never noticed before, and like that might yield like 10 videos. And then I would like notice the cracks in the street, and that could be like 3 videos on its own. Like the debris, the foliage, like there's like so much going on outside if we just pay attention to it. And I think sometimes we're like hoping to go somewhere really exciting or exotic or different, and like hoping that that will, you know, enrich our senses and observational skills, and that we'll see something amazing. But I do think there's like true value in like where we are right now, which I think is probably something that we now need to hear more than ever, when we're feeling like there's nothing to engage us or nothing to like inspire us in our own environments. But I would definitely challenge that. So for me with AR, one of my kind of concerns with AR at the beginning is that it felt like a thing possibly that can just kind of be put anywhere, that is not necessarily reactive to an environment. And so it's just like almost like a free floating piece of art. I feel like people have been using it slightly differently, and I've loved to see how people are making it react to their environment. But the idea of like site specific work, I think, is really exciting, to like be able to point people's attention to wherever it may be, like in the corner of a parking lot, something they never noticed. And like this AR piece is like, I don't know, like interacting with a piece of spilled paint at the edge of the cement that nobody noticed, but like is using that as like the canvas for a piece, or like, you know, just like, I think just getting people to like see again these things that have been kind of there the whole time, but like easy to ignore or pass up. So I think that's like one really exciting use of AR for me, is to just like have, you know, I could see it being kind of almost like a treasure hunt, or like you know, these you know, an art walk or something in a place that you might not necessarily expect it. So
Absolutely. That's super
yeah.
cool. It's almost like the technology meets art world's version of like graffiti style street kind of like experiences, but
Totally. Yeah. I could see that for sure. Yeah.
it's with augmented reality or something.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
corner.
And like, yeah, and the cool thing about AR too is I think it can be even more like customized in a way. Just thinking like it can be like time specific and can be like at 4:45 on this corner, the shadows align in this incredible way. And if you come there, that is when you will see this piece. And like, so like there's so much customization too. And like even just how the person relates to a piece and like how close they are, there can be like proximity triggers that like change certain things about the piece. And so like, yeah, it's just, it can be so, I think a really like rich experience. And so we're like still just, again, like scratching the surface of how it can be used.
Totally. I can't wait to
Yeah.
see what everyone does and what you do with
Yeah.
it. It is
Yeah.
very exciting, and especially right now, I think you made a really good point about making sure to potentially go outside and actually smell the roses that are right in front of you, because they're beautiful too. You don't have to go
Yeah.
halfway across the world to see new ones that might be
Yeah.
similar. So that's a good reminder.
Yeah.
To share. But okay, I guess the last question I have for you
Mm-hmm.
is, so what's next? Are you working on anything new that you want to tell us about?
Um, I mean, it's just continuing with these AR filters. One piece that I am thinking about is kind of creating a series of like dancing figures and like slow moving large dancing figures that then like people can interact with in a different way.
Um,
Yeah. So, and then I'm trying to think what else. I mean, I honestly, I have like 50 different ideas for these AR filters, and I'm still just getting started. It's going to be interesting to see where AR goes. I still feel like it's like in any new technology, there's kind of like a toy phase that it goes through more or less. And like the film camera was the same thing. Like people are like, why would we spend any time with this? It's like a novelty, but we don't know exactly what to do with it, and like take a long time before people thought of editing and piecing together storytelling. And like the beginning was just like a shot of a stage, and that would be, that's as far as people could see it going. And so I think right now AR is still like this kind of bit of like a toy stage. It's still in this novelty phase. So I'm really curious to see where it goes next. But yeah, just trying to use the technology to kind of bring this art to life. But also, I mean, architecture. I think that's something I've really been interested in, creating larger pieces that can be walked around and like entered and things like that. And just, it's interesting for somebody who hasn't really thought about 3D and sculpture before to think about like the emotional quality that a space has, and just trying to think about, for instance, I was thinking about these two different forms of the stage versus a cave, and they have like completely different kind of emotional qualities to them. They're spaces, and they're like in some cases like empty spaces, but they like trigger different emotions and like allow different actions to happen. And so those type of ideas, I'm really excited to start exploring about how a space can create a feeling, and like taking these pieces of video and collage and creating those type of spaces. So,
it's really cool.
yeah.
Very excited. Thank you for sharing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess like this is really great, and I'm glad that I caught you on Instagram DMs because I was lucky.
Yes.
Awesome. So thank
I
you.
know. Well, you were the first person to use the runner, like the moment it posted. So I was so happy to see that. Yeah.
It had like several thousand likes or something like that. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, cool. Like I'm gonna play with this too. And
Yeah.
I was like, what? I've never won anything in my life. That's
I know.
even if it is a trophy emoji, but that's cool.
Yes.
So I was very, very thrilled to be the first for that. That was
Yes.
doing this.
Oh
And
man, yeah, I know.
making those AR filters because they're super fun. It's really
Oh, good. Yeah, more are on the way. So Yeah. All right.
All right.
Great.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Jess. All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.